Well, once again, family, it is a Wednesday, middle of the week, hump day,
Hump
and we're
day.
in the building for Wellness Wednesday because your mental health matters. My good friend, Mr. Edward J. Brown, in the building. How you doing,
Uh,
my good friend?
what's going on, my brother? I'm doing well, man. I'm blessed to be here. How you making out?
Man, hey, it has been a week. That's all I can say. It has been a week, and I'm happy that we're here because it is the holidays, and the holidays ain't happy for everyone. People are dealing.
Everybody, what do the lonely do at Christmas? Huh?
Right. There's a lot of things that people are going through. Not only when you talk about loss, I thought about today, there are a lot of folks who have disagreements with other
Mm,
folks,
mm.
family members who are not talking to each other.
But hey, ending up in the same place at the same time
Right.
because it's the
Right.
holidays.
Right.
Well, that was one of the things I wanted to talk about today, brother Dupree. I said I was going to give you an option to choose our topic for tonight's podcast. One being we could talk about relationships, couples, or
Okay.
we could talk about anger management, conflict resolution, and dealing with problems during the holiday season.
Wow. Well,
So,
you know, let's dabble in a little bit of both. So,
okay,
you
okay,
know, wherever you want to go, the
okay.
stage is all yours.
Yeah, one of the things that I wanted to jump into today was people come to me because we do at Positive Choices, we do anger management. And we help people who are court appointed to us for anger management classes. And one of the first things that I talk to people about is we have to look at the term, he has an anger problem. And technically, and let's look at this from a simplistic viewpoint, anger is not a problem. Anger is the symptom of a problem. You know,
Mm.
I always use the example, Brother Dupree, God forbid, you get up and sock me in my jaw. What's going to happen to my jaw? It's going to swell, get red, as one of my mentors used to say. And people will see me, they believe my swollen jaw is the problem.
Hmm.
When the actual problem is what? Brother Dupree socked me in my jaw.
That part.
So my swollen jaw is just a symptom of the problem. This is one of the things my mentors taught me many years ago. So we need to look at anger for what it is, which is a symptom of a problem. The
Mm.
problem is whatever it is caused you that anger. Whether it's valid or invalid, we can discuss later, but it is the cause. It's
Right.
what we call causality.
We
So
need to get to
now
the root of the problem.
that we get to the root of the problem and not the symptom. But we are in that type of society. In our society, we treat symptoms instead of the problem. And that's what counseling does. Counseling addresses the problem via the symptom.
Mm.
So as we go on today, we're going to start looking at how people respond to certain stimuli. And you started out saying the holiday season is not a happy one for everybody. Well, what has a tendency to happen during the holiday season is people come together.
Right.
And man, it is nothing like when you have a bunch of dynamics in one place at one time.
Correct.
The
Correct.
outcomes, the responses to these stimuli manifest itself in so many different ways. I just recently had to work with a couple, and the couple's issue is she said, I never should have married you from the first place.
Mm. Mm.
And his response was not very, as you can imagine.
Right. Wasn't very good.
His response was not one where he was like, oh, well, dear, thank you. He was very unhappy. And the way he responded to her was he completely shut down.
Wow.
He refused to engage her in conversation. He refused because the stimuli made him feel something.
Wow.
He was hurt. He was upset. So when we start looking at stimuli brings about the response.
Mm.
And what we got to look at is how do we respond?
Wow.
You know, because guess what? Now we're getting real deep. We're about to get a little deep, Brother Dupree. We got to look at how we were reared. Now, let's look at a particular response. Watch this. You can finish this thought for me, Brother Dupree. If somebody hits you, you better what?
Hit them back.
Hit them back. You better hit them back. This is what we were taught.
Right.
We were that stimuli. When someone hits you, there's the stimuli. Now we're waiting for the response. The response is you hit them back. Because if you don't hit them back, I'm gonna hit you. So now we have a bunch of people, a bunch of individuals coming up with the idea of you respond to stimuli based on the way you were reared.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now we're looking at the whole family dynamic issue during the holiday season. You bring all of these people back together who could possibly have been reared with the same ideology, but have gone on and allowed society to add to it. You know what I mean? Society add its little idiosyncrasies to it, little bits and pieces to it.
Right.
You know, so now we bring all of that back into one roof, one encounter, and ask each other, so why? And you know what I always love? When people like to bring up the past.
Yeah.
People like to bring up the past. You know, well, do you remember that time when we were children? I never got over when you. So we're looking now at your own personal encounters bring about a reaction amidst, you know, a family encounter or whatever it is. So
that's correct.
I'm thinking as we move throughout this podcast, we need to start looking at how we respond to certain stimuli. And you were just saying,
well, if I may, you know, and this is from a layman point of view, you know, there's an action and there's a reaction. I can't control what people say or attempt to do to me. However, I can control how I respond to it. And like I asked some folks, do you allow folks to have that much power over you that your reaction is in the manner that it is that makes them know I know how to push those magic buttons with you? You know, I want you to think about this because we're going to talk about it. Like I said, it's the holidays. I know right now there are fathers not speaking to their sons. There are mothers not speaking to their daughters. There are grandmothers not speaking to their grandchildren. There are families full immersed in straight up conflict and turmoil over some of the most mundane things that you would ever believe. I don't like the way you make your potato salad.
That's
you
right.
know better than that.
That's right.
I don't. You always bring that nasty. You know, and you sit there and go, do y'all understand how precious life and time is? You know, you're here fussing and fighting with somebody, and what happened tomorrow? You get that phone call that person is no longer here.
Exactly.
Go ahead, do your thing, Doc.
You know, and what we have a tendency to do, and so let's take what you just said. Now, keep in mind, we're talking about stimuli. We're talking about variables. The most important variable we have at this point in our lives, and you don't realize it when you're younger. This is where I'm going with this, is time. You know, so if you're angry or you're disgruntled with someone, you feel you have time to be angry with them. You have time to be mad because at some point we're going to resolve this.
Mm.
What happens during those times when you don't resolve it?
Come on.
What happens when time creeps up on you and before you know it, you in midlife, and then you in your golden years,
Ooh.
and you still have not resolved it?
Mm.
Because when you're in your 20s, you believe 50 is old.
Ain't never coming.
It ain't never gonna get here. And once 50 hit you, like, well, I ain't that old. I'm not old. I tell people all the time, at this age in my life, I realize that time is the most valuable thing we have.
Come on.
You must take advantage of every opportunity in this life. So if there is a stimuli that prevents you from engaging someone, get past that. Work through it. Communicate through it. And trust me, you will realize, because what we try to do in our lives as we live is not have regrets. We try to live our lives with as little regret as we can. And too often, when I meet people who are in the golden years of their lives, I ask them, what would you do different now that you're 79, 80? What would you tell your 20-year-old self?
Come on.
And so many of them said, I would not waste time.
Come on. Edward, I think about what you're saying right there, and that is just so monumental. Folk need to understand, and I hope folks that are listening are sharing this with somebody, or somebody who will come back and watch this. The problem is a lot of us have been dropped. And I'm not trying to get biblical here, but in the Bible, there's a story of a guy named Mephibosheth, and some of us have been dropped by folk who really loved us and were maybe trying to get us from point A to point B quickly, because if we had stayed where we were at, we would have either died or we were under such a brutal attack that we couldn't make it. But in the process of hurrying us out of situation A, trying to get us to point B, they dropped us. And now, because we have been dropped, we are injured. And the worst thing, it's nothing wrong with being dropped by an enemy, because you expect those who don't like you to drop you or to try to hurt or harm you. Correct. But then when a loved one drops you, and I'm, like I said, I'm not trying to get biblical or spiritual or religious here, because I don't want folks to think that's where I'm going. But many a times, here's the problem. The reason you treat your children the way you treat your children is because of how your mother and father treated you.
Exactly. We call that cognitive development. We are all products of how every encounter that we've ever had.
And the reason your mom and dad treated you the way they treated you is because of how they mom and dad treated them. Exactly. So things become a generational transferal of what I call, here's what I've been calling it lately. Some of y'all are so disillusional and so dysfunctional that you believe being delusional and dysfunctional is normal.
Well, it becomes your normal. It becomes your normal. It becomes your new normal. We already are creatures of habit. We love routine. And we fall into habit. When behavior becomes habitual, then more times than not, it's transferred from generation to generation. How you barbecue is going to be how your son barbecue.
Come on.
How you cook is going to be how your daughter cooks.
Come on.
So if those type of simplistic things are transferred, why do we believe that our children are not going to respond to different things the way we respond?
Come on.
I remember when I saw the change. I remember if I'd had some problems in school, the last person I wanted you to call was Gail Brown.
Come on.
Please don't call Gail Brown.
No, please.
Now, the children ask you to call their mama. When the teacher say, well, I'm going to call your mama, good caller.
Right.
You know, and I was like, you want them to call your mama? Yeah, because when my mama come up here, they're going to get it. I'm like, wow.
Hey, I want you to bookmark that right there.
Mm-hmm.
And listen to this. And I really want your point of view on this. I hear that a lot with folk. You know, I've had a person tell me one time, right, wrong, or indifferent, that's still my mama.
Mm-hmm.
Right, wrong, or indifferent, that's still my child. And listen, I'm going to make a statement here that folk probably won't like. But if you really examine
Won't be the first
statement,
time. So
you'll catch the truthfulness in this statement. Your mama or your child being right or wrong doesn't change your level of love for them.
correct.
But it should change how you respond to them in their rightness and in their wrongness. If they're right, you should pat them on the back and encourage them and say, that was wonderful. What you did was great. Continue to go down that path. But if they were wrong, you shouldn't stop loving them, but you should check them and say, hey,
see,
you don't do that to folk.
Parents and society has changed that. We do not hold our children to the same standards that we were held to. Now, let me explain to you what I'm talking about, Brother Dupree. I was looking at, I think it was Inside Sports, and there's this woman who has gone on this crusade because we no longer give children trophies who participate in extracurricular activities based on the success. Meaning, if you win, the better you do, the bigger the trophy. Everybody gets the same size trophy because the children who didn't do as well feel some type of way. So now what we're going to do is we're going to nurture that expecting something for nothing type attitude by giving them all participation. The children who are 10-0 get the same size trophy as the children who are 0-10. So when we're going back to what you're talking about is when you start to say, well, you were wrong, but there's no but. If you were wrong, you're wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you did wrong, you did wrong. It wasn't, well, you did wrong, but it could be you did wrong and you should have done this or done that. But
in my opinion,
and
hit them with, in my opinion, I got to say this, Brother Brown, I'm going to let you take back over. So many times what I find out is folk want you to think like they think, act like they act, and do as they do.
Why you think that? Why you think it's that way?
I have the slightest idea. That's why you're the professional. But I'll be honest with you. I noticed that. I noticed. I've had some conversations as of late where I have people tell me for an hour everything that was done wrong to them. But they never tell you what they contributed to the equation to make the equation come out in the manner that it does. And I say sometimes, you know what? And I ask myself this question today. And I think everybody who's listening and who's sharing this, ask yourself sometimes this question. Is it worth me being right if me being right makes it that I lose a relationship with someone I love?
Well, and one of the things that in regard to parenting, I'm going to keep seeing it come back to that.
Come on.
Is that there is a line that we have to address as parents. And this is it. Do you do what's popular or do you do what's right? See, as a parent, I'm going to do what's right. And what I'm going to do ain't going to always be popular. So going back to what you're saying and what I asked you earlier, people have a tendency to surround themselves with individuals that will not challenge them when they know they're not doing right.
Come on.
So if you know and so when you look at a parent who's not willing to challenge and uphold wrong or challenge wrong, you got to look at that parent. And it may have you may find some things out that You know, so okay. You ever saw a child, and then when you met their parent, you say, I see why they like that.
Right.
You know, I understand now why they're like that. So what you are asking is your convictions and your morals worth you? Are you willing to compromise that to maintain a relationship? Now we can look at society and find it and find that right now. We just had a young man do a school shooting.
Come on.
And all I saw on the news was his text messages and the back and forth with his mother. I got my baby a new toy, and a gun is not a toy.
Come on.
You know what I mean? Then they hide because that's their son.
Right.
The Rittenhouse little boy. His mom dropped him off with the understanding he was going to protect stuff. I don't need you to protect no stuff. You're 17 years old.
Right. Hold it. You a child. Somebody should be should be protecting you. You shouldn't be, it's two different sides to this whole game. And I wanted to talk about that.
We cannot uphold wrongdoing no matter who it is.
Come on.
Dupree.
Come on.
We cannot uphold wrongdoing in our society. We just cannot do it. And what's happening is we're just not a little boy doing podcasts and he's a celebrity now.
Right. Has taken a picture with our former president.
I'm not surprised.
Number 45. And,
yeah, I'm not surprised.
But people are trying to make him the poster child for what they call stand your ground, for Second Amendment rights. And here's the sad thing about it. Unfortunately, in this country, and this is just my opinion.
Well,
and once again,
this is our podcast.
Some may not agree with my opinion, but to me, here's the sad thing. It seems to be we are Americans up to a point. And once we get to that point, we're no longer all Americans. We're Black Americans. We're Hispanic Americans. We're white Americans. Because at that point, at that line of demarcation, all of a sudden, we're not all just Americans. We're a certain type of American, because certain Americans have other privileges that certain Americans don't have.
I have to admit, and I'm going to take 10 seconds to say this, and I had a conversation with some people about Barack Obama, and when I thought about it, it made me think of a comment that I heard was during the Obama presidency, I did not feel like an African American. I felt like an American. Period. It was that simple. I did not feel like I was just an African. I felt like I was an American because that glass ceiling of I no longer had to speak to children in schools and at assemblies and say, well, one day there'll be an African American president. It won't be in my lifetime. That's what I used to say. And it changed. So now they went so far to the end of the other spectrum that they elected a non-politician to be the most political position in the world. And you seem surprised that we had the problems we had with that last president. He wasn't a politician. So anyway, getting back to the moral makeup of this country and this society and how it's filtering down to the family structure, we have scrambled, and the family values and morals in this country is so cloudy that parents have begun to just make them up as they go along. My child, I want to be my child's friend. Let me tell you something. Back in the day, they didn't really care about whether or not they was your friend or not. They were your parent. And parents ruled. The children did not rule. So now we look at, I want this. This is what I want. And everything back, years ago was whether you earned it or you deserved it. Now we do because we can.
Have it my way.
You know what I mean? I'm going to buy you a car because I can. But you got 5 D's and 2 F's in school.
You haven't earned it.
Right? You haven't earned it. You know, that's where we talked last podcast about understanding cost versus value.
Come on.
You know, so now it seems as though the path of this podcast tonight is the moral makeup and structure that we need to address within, you know, individuals.
Come on. Hey, and,
You know?
and let's just be real. Another thing, let's not get things and give it to folks only to come back later and throw it up to their face and make them feel like, you know, you wouldn't be who you are or where you are today had I not lended this helping hand in the manner that I did. Either, you know, and once again, brother, I hate doing this because folks gonna say, what are you doing? But the truth about it is, until you let a thing really go, I mean, really let it go, just freely give it and not expect anything back, all you really doing yourself is holding yourself somewhat hostage in the situation, because you know you really didn't let that thing go freely. You knew in the back of your head that I need to do this, and one day I'm going to come back and say, but now remember, I did such and such for you. You know, not understanding that some folks look at that and say, what you mean? Hold up. You know, that's like, you know, I hate when I see parents do that. I hate disrespectful children, but I hate parents that bring up every time everything they did. Wait a minute. You the parent.
Yeah, isn't that what you're supposed to do?
Right. Hold up. You're not supposed to all of a sudden, well, I did this and I did that. And if I hadn't have did this, hold up. Whoa. Wait a minute. You know, and here's the crazy thing. You can run around and we can all run around and say this, that, these, those, and the third. But here's the truth about life. You're going to make mistakes no matter how good you are in life or how bad you are in life. And guess what? Everybody got secrets until they get caught.
Absolutely. You know, we look at how dynamics play out in the development of us as individuals. So if you are sitting there doing for recognition, you really need to look deeper at the issue. You need some type of fulfillment. You're doing stuff for recognition because you need that fulfillment. What are you missing in life that is causing you to need such fulfillment that you're going to do for individuals and then throw it back in their face?
Come on.
Why? You know, you're missing something and you're looking for. I always look at people when I go to places and they ask for someone to speak. I always look at folks that's, I'll do it. I want to do it. And they start jockeying for position.
Right.
You know, they start jockeying for position for recognition. These are individuals that are looking for their
validation
or something. They're looking for something. You know, I laugh because I've been in a couple of organizations where people, you know, they volunteer for certain committees that they don't have the skills in.
Come on. Just to say they were on the committee.
If you can't decorate, why are you volunteering for the decorating committee?
Come on. Just to say, I'm look at what I'm associated with. You know what? I can honestly say this, and Brother Brown, there's going to be some people that go back and look at this and say of the audacity of Joe Dupree to say this. But I got to be real with y'all. There's some people who join organizations. Them organizations shouldn't let you in the organization because you're not qualified to be a part of the organization. The only reason you join the organization is because of the glam and the glitter attached to the organization that you can't get yourself. So you had to go ahead and put that and get it from them. You know what? I tell people, good people bring glam and glitter to a situation. They don't have to get it from the situation. And I'm just saying, you know, I ain't trying. Now somebody probably gonna type me up and say you throwing some mighty hard shade. No, I'm just telling the truth because we've all done it. We've all done it in some shape, form, or fashion. And for those of us who have, can we not teach the future generations to stop with the bumfoolery? Because we keep on coming out looking like Bobo the Clown.
I think that's what we're really talking about. And when we start talking about morals, values, convictions, and the way things look, we're actually let's simplify it a little bit. We're looking at the impact that our actions have on society and the future. In the future could be future generations. You know, you could look at the seeds that we plant and what we'll eventually sow. Are you giving back to the community? When we start looking at how people go through and what we take from our communities and society, I challenge everybody, especially the folks that watch this podcast. What are you giving back? What are you planning? What kind of energy are you putting out there? Are you putting out energy that 5 years, 10 years, 20 years later is going to produce a positive reaction? Be it a child, because let me tell you something. People always ask me about being a therapist. And one of the things that I always say is it's wonderful when you look at individuals that you walk the therapeutic journey with and you see them succeed. Now, you might not know because they've gone on, but you run into them and they're like, hey, how you doing? I'm doing so well, thank you. I said, school teachers, they're one of the people that get that the most. You know, but when we're trying to put back and you join these organizations and the reason you join it is not to plant positive seeds, you're right. The organization shouldn't let you in. You ain't part of the true mission statement of anything. So I ask everybody that's watching this.
Come on.
What are you planting? What are you sowing that down the line you will be able to step back and say, man, that right there bloomed into something that's positive in my community?
Come on.
What is it? Are you mentoring? Or are you putting money into a program? I got one better than that. Are you making sure you a better you?
Oh, watch this. Watch this, Brother Brown. I posted this today. I said, here's the $1 million question to all my community leaders and activists. If the community wins, but in the process of the community winning, you lose and get no credit for anything that has occurred with the win, will you still help support the movement? Better yet, what I'm trying to ask folks is, do you have a problem sweeping some floors and cleaning some toilets instead of being the person sitting at the captain's table?
Gotcha.
And do you have a problem serving instead of being served?
Correct.
See, because a lot of folks, they're only there to get served. They don't want to be the server. They always want to be. I know some folks that won't even show up to an event if they're not sitting at the head table.
Well, and you know what? Those are the individuals that we're talking about morally and ethically and with the lack of integrity that is not planning anything that will sow positive results. And that's what it should be about. You know, if you can't drive the bus, you don't want to take the trip.
Come on.
You don't want to go. You know, I tell people all the time, you ain't got no hands, but you want to play quarterback because it's your football.
Come on.
How you going to throw what you can't play quarterback if you ain't got no hands? You know, you can't, it might be your ball, but let him play quarterback. You got feet, maybe you can kick.
Right. Come on.
But you can't be the quarterback. So some people, like you just said, if I can't drive the bus, I don't want to go on the trip.
If I can't be the captain of the ship, guess what? Let's just run it into the iceberg and let the whole thing sink.
Let's hit the iceberg and end this trip right now.
Right.
You know, so, you know, we really have tonight, I think we've taken this journey looking at our own, you know, morality, integrity, and our convictions.
Come on.
And how does it actually impact our community and us? How does it serve us? And I am at the point in my life right now where I'm trying to leave a legacy that long after Brown is gone,
okay,
that something positive is still being produced. So when you look at what you're doing and what you have and what you're bringing, what kind of energy you're giving out. Trust me, energy is real.
Mm-hmm.
And what you put out is definitely going to come back.
Come on. Come on.
You know, I tell people all the time, especially when people come to me and they're suffering from depression.
Talk to me.
I'll give them every now and then a little homework. I say, here's some homework. Go to someone that's less fortunate than you and do something for them. Now, they look at me and they say, well, I wonder why he got me doing that. Brother Dupree, it's hard for you to go to the Senior Citizen Center and bring a bag of caramel corn or some popcorn and not watch how them people face light up.
Right. Right.
Over something simple as $1 bag of popcorn.
Mm.
They get so excited and happy. Thank you so much. And now, if it's only for 10 seconds, you wasn't depressed for 10 seconds. You were in the midst of some positive energy that made you feel good. Sometimes you have to look at giving to feel better instead of receiving to feel better.
Look, brother. I was just here thinking, and some cliche words came to me, like 2 wrongs don't make a right. Mm-hmm. You know, but here's what I want to tell folks. You know, and yes, I've got to get real spiritual with this. If you any type of spiritual person, you know that it is said in many books of spirituality, you reap what you sow. So with that being said, some of us have to ask ourselves, especially, and guess what? Some of us don't know when the harvest is coming because we don't know nothing about planting. We don't know nothing about taking care of crops, and we don't know about when the harvest comes. So watch this. Mm-hmm. If that's the case, I've had people try to justify to me, well, man, this shouldn't be happening to me. I'm a good person. Mm-hmm. But if it's true that you reap what you sow, maybe you sowed a few bad seeds.
Maybe so.
Okay, and maybe you sowed more good seeds than you do bad seeds. But guess what? If you sow some bad seeds, you're going to reap the plant of what you planted with the bad seeds. So I want to tell people all the time, if I could go back and talk to my younger me, guess what I tell me? Hold up, dog. Everything counts. Correct. And you can't just be selective on what you want to talk about and what you want to deal with. Because it really gets to me how people sometimes try to say, well, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. But then you come back and say, but tell me some of the bad things you did. Because from what you telling me now, you ain't never in your life did anything bad. And if all of a sudden now you're going through a turbulent time and it's true that you reap what you sow, then you're reaping what you didn't sow. Mm-hmm. And I don't believe that. Because I believe that everybody has to pay the piper in some shape, form, or fashion.
We all have to answer for our actions. For every reaction, for every action, there's a reaction. You know, and when we start talking spiritual, that's a whole different area. But at the end of the day, if we keeping it earthly, and we're talking about what we put out and what we get back. You know, I tell people all the time, you ever seen a person argue with themselves?
Come on.
You have to have somebody to participate. You know, it's a strange conversation to see somebody argue with themselves, Brother Dupree.
Normally, them folks get admitted to places.
Yeah, we go and put them in the soft room. They go in that soft room. So my thing is, when we start looking at people and the interaction that we give and take with one another, I can no longer sit here in this podcast and tell folks the first thing you have to do is look at self.
Come on.
You gotta look at self.
Come on. Start with self. Hashtag.
Start with self.
Hashtag start with self.
Start with self. You have to look at self. You know, it's so often I'm in the middle of conversations and people will say, you know, well, look at you.
Come on.
And I'm like, oh, I look at me every day. The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Come on. Chickadee, check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Exactly. You know, I start with self. And I am a work in progress, man.
Come on, we all are.
At this age in my life, I'm still working on me.
We all are. You know, and you got to say this, Brother Brown. You know, it's times like this that I find this not only a place that we share information with others, but it becomes therapeutic for even myself.
Mm-hmm.
I say to myself, you know, it's not that hard to get back on course.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that hard to get to a place where you become a beacon of light and an example to others of
Mm-hmm.
a good life. See,
Yeah.
see, we mess up two words. Two words we got to stop confusing with each other. Good and perfect.
Mm.
See, a lot of folks try to display perfection. That's
Mm-hmm.
impossible because ain't nobody perfect.
Correct.
But you can definitely display good.
Yeah.
See, and here's the
Yeah.
problem. Some of us are caught up in what does that display look like? And to some folks, that display is purely materialistic. It's the
Mm-hmm.
house you live in, the car you drive,
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
clothes you wear, the association of the individuals that you can rattle off that you can be invited to one of their grand
Correct.
parties during the
There's
holidays.
soirees.
Right,
There's
right,
soirees.
right. But the truth about the matter is I've come to find out. And, you know, I was laughing today because somebody brought up to me because they were looking at my press credential from McKinley High School in
Wow.
Baton Rouge, Louisiana, when the President Barack Obama came to speak. And I was one of the only brothers in the back with him and had the opportunity to sit down and just listen to President Obama, shook his hand, took a quick picture, still ain't posted the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Still don't do it because sometimes you just say, this is something I got to pass on to somebody in
Yeah.
my family
Correct.
and just
Correct.
say, your
Yeah.
daddy was there, your
Yeah.
granddaddy was there, your great grandpappy, he was there.
Right.
But at the end of it all, here's what I come to realize. I still don't know Barack Obama.
Right. Right. Exactly.
I just
Exactly. We don't know
was
that, man.
fortunate.
Exactly.
I was just fortunate enough, you know, and
Exactly.
that's where I had to check somebody because
Yeah.
I said, you know, I see a lot of folks taking
I
a
don't
lot
know
of
that, man.
pictures. Right. I see a lot of folks taking
Mm-hmm.
a lot of pictures with a lot of folks that
Right.
they don't even know. But here y'all are going crazy on social media. Talking about, man, is
Yeah.
that so and so from
Yeah.
such and such?
I don't know that,
Man,
man.
how'd you
Yeah.
get close to them? Easy. You maneuvered your way through the crowd and you
Got to the
that's
front. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. I got to
But
the
that
front.
don't mean you know nobody. And we
Yeah.
got to start letting folks understand that. Just because I see you in a picture with a car, that might not even be your car that you
Correct.
taking a
Correct.
picture with. That might not be
Correct.
your house. You might have what's the new thing? Because I keep all these letters mixed up. ABR, whatever. You might have rented the house from somebody.
Right.
It might not
Right.
even be your house.
Airbnb.
Right,
Airbnb.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Airbnb. So all of a
Mhm.
sudden, here I am, mad, jealous, upset, disappointed, trying to keep up with you. When the truth about it is, everything that you done showed me through social media ain't
Right.
even real.
Listen, I tell people all the time, you know, I don't judge myself by what I have
Come
because then
on.
when I don't have nothing,
Ah,
you know what I'm saying? I
ah.
don't judge because when I don't have nothing, then I still feel like something. So I
Come
don't
on.
judge myself by
Come
what I
on.
have, and I definitely don't judge myself with who I'm around because I don't know what people do when they leave me.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? I
Ooh.
don't know what they do when they leave me. What I do is I stand on these 2 feet, these 212s that I have right here.
Come
I
on, Brother
stand
Brown.
on these, and that's all. I'm trying to make sure that is the most positive me I can be as I go through this life.
Come on.
You know, and when people sit there and talk about, well, you know what, this person is that and that person is this, the first thing I do is I don't know those folks. And
Come
my
on.
grandfather told me something that I didn't understand it until I became a man.
Come
My
on.
grandfather said, what other people think of me ain't none of my business.
Come on.
That's and I didn't realize that. He said, well, they said that ain't my business. That was between them two.
Right.
You know, well, Grandpa, they was talking about you. I don't know. That ain't got nothing to do with me. If it had something to do with me, he would have said it to me.
To me.
But he didn't. He
Come
said
on.
it to him. So that
That's
ain't had nothing
between
to do with me.
that's
That's
between them
between them
folks.
two.
That's
Right.
hey, that's their opinion.
That's
That's
their
their
opinion.
right.
So when
That's
he was
their
saying
opinion. Hold it.
what
It's one thing to think you know who I am. It's another
yeah.
thing that I know who I am.
when that dude told me what other people say about me ain't none of my business. Because they would have said it to me if it was my business. That's their business. And I stay out of people's business.
Come on.
And I was like, wow. You know, as a kid, you'd be like, I don't understand that. But now, you know, what you mean what they say about you ain't none of your business? Because that ain't me. They didn't say it to me.
Well, hold on. Let me put some folks in our business right quick. As you see
Okay.
on the screen, positivechoicescounseling.org. Right now, you might be listening to this podcast and you might say to yourself, I need some counseling service. Well, let me tell you something. They do everything from medical psychologists, child adolescents, adult, board certified, licensed mental health professional counselors, qualified mental health professionals, qualified independent living skill counselors. If you want to know what services they provide, go to the website that is
Go to the
on the
website.
screen and check it out. They have different locations, and just
Mhm.
because you're not in the state of Louisiana,
Doesn't call.
doesn't check out the website,
We
reach
do
out and
telehealth
call.
now.
They can
We're
do
doing telehealth. We can
telehealth.
deal with anybody.
Right. They can help you if you need counseling services. And listen, I'm gonna say this: we got to start taking the taboo out of needing help
Oh,
because your mental health matters.
yeah.
You know, some of us really do need somebody professional to talk to. Here's why: your family ain't gonna tell you that you crazy as a Betsy bug. They not. They not. They not. I hate to say that. Now I'm gonna get checked when we get off this for using that word. But you know what?
Hey.
Here's what I've come to find out. A lot of us try to either go to the pastor. Well, the pastor needs your tithes and offerings.
Mhm.
So he ain't gonna tell you crazy as a Betsy
Pastors
bug
come
either.
to us.
Listen,
Pastors come to us.
if your tithes and offering is right, he ain't gonna tell you crazy as a Betsy bug either, because he needs that money to keep the church flowing and going and keep the word of God going. So that's not my shot at pastors. I'm just saying, you need somebody who really is a professional, who is trained to look at you and say, we might need to look at this at another way. And the problem may not be all these people that you're telling me the problem is. The problem may be you. See, folk, especially
and even
folk
that's okay, because you can work through that.
right. Some folk who have certain means don't know that they really the problem. And the reason folks won't tell you the problem is because they kind of need you for something. They need you for something. And you know, they and because honestly, if they didn't need you for what they needed you for, they probably would look you in the face and say, there's something wrong with you.
Well, at this point, Positive Choices doesn't need you to do anything but be the best you can be.
Come on.
And if there's anything we can do to help you meet that goal, give us a call. You know, I know this podcast, we've been all over the place tonight, but I feel very good about the things that we talked about tonight.
Right.
Because
share this with a friend. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Because listen in. Now we're normally here every Wednesday. We haven't been here for our last few Wednesdays because listen, it is the holidays. And sometimes we have to take a break because we have families, we have wives and children and occasions we need to be at. But we try to be here every Wednesday. And if we're not here on Wednesday, you can always go back and listen to one of the prior cast.
Correct.
Because now, wait a minute. Now the website is up. So you can go right now to the THE100BLK.com and you can go and click on prior podcast and go back and listen and share it. And you know, and maybe you'll hear something in there that will motivate you to be a better you, or put you in a place where you say, you know what, I do need help. So let me call Positive Choices Counseling. Let me call Brother Brown and let me see what help I can get to help me be a better me. Because listen, life is short.
Yeah.
And I had a beautiful conversation with my youngest daughter today, where I told my youngest daughter, I ain't always been the best dad. I wasn't the best father. I wasn't the best husband when I was with her mother. There's a lot of things I have fell very short on, but right now I'm at a place of peace, and I'm good enough to tell her the truth and nothing but the truth, even the ugly truth. Because if tonight my number gets called, she can walk by me and say, my daddy did his best and he was all right with me.
Well, there's a saying going out. I think Fat Joe said it. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Come on.
I'll say this: the person I am today ain't the person I was a while ago.
Come on.
You know, so I made progress, and I'm making progress every day in my life. And I challenge everybody that listen to this podcast, that watch this podcast, to do the same thing. Make sure that you're a better person today than you were yesterday. I don't know what it may be. It may be eating a salad today instead of eating some cookies like me, but I think that we have to get to the point where we have to look inside of ourselves, not care about what other people think, not care about what other people say, because they're going to say it anyway.
Right.
Right. So at the end of the day, when I lay down and I close my eyes, I ask myself, was today a good day?
Come on.
Did I achieve making myself a little bit better today than I did yesterday? Did I make a positive impact in somebody's life today? So when you sit down and you look at this podcast or you talk to people, ask yourself, what am I putting out there? Am I putting a positive me? Because I had a brother call me the other day, Brother Dupree. When I picked up the phone, I knew it was, hey, bro, what's going on? I said, uh-oh. I said, listen, man, before we get started, today's a good day, man. I don't know. Oh, it is. It is. Right. Say it with me. He was like, it's a good day. Say it with me. And within 30 seconds, he was like, all right, well, I was just calling to tell you his whole energy level had changed. Now, I could have easily fallen into his, but instead I brought him in to mine.
And I said that to somebody today. I said, listen, I was talking to an individual. I said, if you're an alcoholic and you have recovered and you walk into a room of folks that are drinking, one or two things are going to happen. Either they're going to persuade you to start drinking again, or you going to persuade them to stop drinking while you're there.
That's right.
I said, so you got to understand that sometimes your presence have to permeate the room to bring about the change you want to see. And don't be scared. Here's the crazy thing. I'd rather have a person say the following thing to me, Brother Brown. Joe Show tries a lot. He never really wins, but he tries a lot, than to say I ain't trying at all.
There you go. At the end of the day, what they say, the only thing beats a failure is a try.
Right. Come on.
All we need is for people to make a commitment that I'm going to be, and this is socially something we need to adopt. We are going to make this a better place, one person at a time.
Come on.
One person at a time. Because when people, I always tell people, when folks gossip, if they ain't got nobody to gossip to, it ain't gossip.
Ting.
So you had to participate it, and I learned this a while back. I had a friend tell me, well, you here telling me what they said, but what did you say? You know what I'm saying?
I bet you. Why?
Thinking about it.
Why were they so? Why were they so comfortable?
Yeah,
to have this conversation with you.
I had to say, well, maybe they're right. I need to start watching who I hang with and the energy in the conversations I participate in. Again, we've been all over the place with a lot of different issues, but all very important issues. But, Brother Dupree, I'm about to ask you something, because we put this out there last month. We're supposed to be going to the doctor, taking the loved one to the doctor this month.
Right. So
December, we said was gonna be our take a loved one to the doctor with you day.
So I'm gonna move that. I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there, Brother Brown.
All right. I'm just checking on
you. I'm gonna move it.
Okay.
First of all, yes, because December, a lot of you who have health insurance, a lot of you have met let's just call it what it is. And we really need to educate folks on stuff like this. Yeah. And you can go to the website. I'm going to have an article up about understanding your health insurance, understanding annual checkups and things like that. And I got a very good doctor, Dr. Randy Whitfield, who is a great alpha man.
I know Brother Whitfield.
Who's going to be talking about, health on the website and family. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to go. I'm going to stick to my guns where I started this a long time ago. A long time ago, I started take a friend or a family member to the doctor in honor of Black History Month. So we're going to
Okay.
keep it like that.
All
The
right.
whole month of February, every time we jump on this podcast, we're going to encourage you to take a friend, a family member, or a loved one to the doctor for their annual checkup, because a lot of you haven't been for an annual checkup. Y'all don't even know what an annual checkup is. And
I
here's
agree.
the
I like that. I like
you
that.
can't wait till things get into stage 4 and 5 when
Mhm.
you all you had to do was catch it early. And I'm a out it. Let me give my testimony, because we still got about 5 minutes here. So let me give y'all my testimony. I have a disease. I have a very bad disease, um, that almost took me out not too very long ago. Um, let's just say this: the doctor said it best. Had I not came and been doing my normal routine checkups, this may have never got caught in enough time for them to do what they're doing now, that they can eradicate the situation. So without me trying to jump in, because I hate when some folks get on here and they try to tell you, well, I got this, I got that, pray for me, dude. No, no, no. At the end of the day, a disease is normally a dis-ease.
I like
So
that.
I'm very thankful that I trust, A, first God, but B, I trust everything God puts around me to be a blessing unto me. So I'm so thankful for the doctors I have that have a lot of folks don't even know I'm sick.
Mm,
And that's the funny thing. I don't even claim the sickness. I
yeah,
just say I have
right,
I have an issue that
right.
is getting corrected. And once it gets corrected, I'm going to tell everybody what I had and say, while you were running around thinking that everything, and people just need to get to the place. And now I hear somebody in the back of my head saying, finish your sentences.
Mhm.
She's laughing right now. She's watching this. Um, but at the end of the day, what I'm saying is, family, understand that you control what happens next. And if you wake up with a positive mindset, no matter what your situation is, I promise you, you will come out with a positive outcome.
I
Brother
agree.
Brown.
Hey, listen. I mean, Brother Dupree, I couldn't have said it better myself. So please, please go to the doctor, have yourself checked out, catch this stuff early so that you can live a healthy life. Now, for me, my little 30-second soapbox for this holiday season, I'm going to challenge everybody that watches this podcast, that's listening to this podcast, to go and buy one toy, one item,
Mm,
give it to a person less fortunate than you. You can go to the dollar store and buy a toy and drop it off at a shelter somewhere. You can get a card and put a $5 coupon to McDonald's in it and give it to a homeless person. I just want everybody to take one toy, one item, and give it to somebody this holiday season. Bless somebody this holiday season, and you will be amazed how much better it makes you feel during the holiday season. I appreciate you, Brother Dupree, and
so,
and, and this is what we intended this podcast to do, is to disseminate information.
come on. So with that being said, we got to give some shout outs. We normally don't do shout outs, but I am saying there's some shout outs that need to be made tonight. So first shout out. My first shout out goes to all my good friends who wear the colors blue and white in Jackson, Mississippi for winning the SWAC championship
That's right.
with the I Love Deion Sanders, Coach Deion Sanders, better known as
Mm-hmm.
Coach Prime. They're
Mm-hmm.
getting ready to go play for a black college national championship against South Carolina State. And I back up any SWAC school. Bring back the trophy to the SWAC.
Go SWAC. Go
Okay,
SWAC.
so
Go
I got
SWAC.
two more shout outs to make. First shout out, seems like tomorrow there's going to be an announcement of Hugh Jackson, the former NFL coach, going to the Grambling State University. And if that happens, congratulations, Grambling, on your new coach. Since it hasn't been officially made, let me hit somebody with an official statement of a coach that was officially announced.
Mm-hmm.
The Southern University, them Jags. So
SU.
Eric Dooley is back. And for those of you who didn't know, Eric Dooley used to be a Grambling Tiger. But
That's right. That's right.
I'm just saying this though. I am so excited that Eric Dooley is back at Southern University. I am excited for Jackson State and everything that Coach Prime has did at Jackson State. I am excited for Grambling State University. And watch this. I'm going to put a name out there, and I don't know where he might go, but I guarantee you we ain't finished seeing him. And that's Roderick Fobbs. You will see
Oh,
him
I agree.
again. So
I agree.
listen, family, know this. Know this. It's going to be some great games played in black college football at HBCUs. Right now in basketball, Texas Southern has already showed you can laugh and talk about us all you want to. I bet you Florida ain't laughing because Texas Southern cleaned that clock. And let me tell you something. Southern got real close to cleaning the clock of Kentucky. So it's a new day in HBCU land, baby. That's all I got to say about that. So listen, we have had a great amount of fun for this 1 hour. Share this with a friend. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Thank you to everybody who has logged in. You can catch it, like I said, on the website. If you want to know more about counseling services that may be available to you, your family, your loved ones to help you have a better mental health state of mind, go to positivechoicescounseling.org. Brother Brown, you got any closing words, man?
Hey, man. Happy holidays to you, Brother Dupree, and everybody that's listening.
We will be back next Wednesday for another Wellness Wednesday. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Share this with a friend. We love you because your mental health matters. And we up out of here. Peace.